it's going to be, and it's going to end up being, it'll probably have a moral to it that I think, how old are you?
26.
You're 26 years old. Boy, I can remember when I was 26. So, my advice to you is going to be about family. And without knowing your background, we can all assume if we're here, we have some sort of family. Big, small, extended, long distance, short distance, whatever. So, my wife and I decided to sell our property and all our land. And before we got sold, we couldn't do anything and just go explore. We started from Massachusetts 17 months ago, and here we are today. We're still moving along. But about 5 weeks ago, a cousin of mine contacted me and said, she's a second cousin, and said, hey, you know, do you belong to 23andMe or Ancestry.com? And we went and talked about that, and I said, yeah. I said, why? And she said, well, I'll let you know, but I think you need to be somewhere where I can kind of get in touch with you in the next few days. And I said, okay. Now, a little bit about me. I was born in 1959. My mom and dad and my brother, we all lived in Connecticut. My brother died when I was 13. My dad died 2 weeks later. My mother remarried. Stepfather was great. He's since passed on. My mother's passed on. So I'm it. So, fast forward again, my cousin Brittany says to me, in her next text, she said, so this is what's going on. So this guy contacted me through 23andMe because I did a DNA test, and he says either your grandmother or one of her sisters is my biological mother. So it didn't mean anything to me at the time, but I'm a big Ancestry.com person. I have this giant family tree. So consequently, I know the chronology of every one of my relatives, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everything, because I go through this like it's my garden every day. I tend to it. I update it constantly. So she gave me a date as to when this guy was born and where he was born and things of that nature. Well, I'm not going to fill you in on all the details, but as it turns out, the other day I find that I have a brother. Yeah, exactly. So I've already had a conversation with him, and I've talked to my aunts, the few sisters that are left of my mom's. One didn't disclose anything, didn't want to talk about it. The other one sang like a canary and told me that my mother was in fact working in this city, which was New Haven, Connecticut at the time. And when I did the chronology as to when she was married first, then there was divorced, then there was a gap, and then she was married again. Right in between there, this is probably when it happened. And then back then, in the 40s, there were these homes for unwed moms that would go and, in exchange for taking care of them and getting medical attention, room and board, they would give up their child at the end. And that's what she did. So my mother died 2 years ago, and she never told me. She never uttered a word. She never said anything. So I felt empathy and understanding. I didn't judge my mom because without going too long in the tooth in this, I understood her family situation. She had 6 sisters and a brother. They grew up in the Depression. There was no food or money in the house. She was 20-ish years old.
You said your brother died at 13 and your dad passed away two weeks after
that. Yeah.
So was that during the Depression?
No, that was in the 70s for me.
Oh.
So my mom was probably 50 when my brother was killed, and then 2 weeks later my dad had a stroke, probably as a result of the stress from my brother dying. And so she and I were on our own probably for about 18 months until she met somebody else and remarried, and then I think because she remarried, there was just she didn't dwell on the past. She didn't talk about the past at all. So there was really no opportunity. But in 1995, my stepdad died. she lived alone. I was already married, but but I'd visit her, but she still never even hinted that there could be somebody else out there floating around. So what's the moral of the story here, I guess, is you seem like a great guy. You just look like that old soul type. You remind me of somebody by the name of Todd Mazer. He was probably your age, a little bit older. He's a photographer. And it's about family. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters. You can't ever not take them, you can never take them for granted. No matter how much you dislike them, how much you don't get along with them, how much you don't want to deal with them, because they're all, you got one that's like this and one that's like that. You have to do what's right and be the bigger person sometimes, and it takes effort. But I know that I did everything I could while my mom was alive, while my stepdad was alive, because the lessons I've learned from the other two, just disappearing without having to ever say to them, I really appreciated everything you did for me, standing up for me, this and that. And then it's like unfinished business. So that's my lesson or advice to you is make sure that you finish your business, however, whatever that may be.